Thanks for joining me today. My name is Joshua Clater, and we're doing our sealed deck dump for the week. With it being finals week at Western Kentucky, I have not really had the time to do as many sealed decks as I'd like to do, so this week I was only able to do one. And what I'm going to do is take the sealed pool that I have, which is right here. It's something that I played last Sunday and went 3-1 with it. And I'm going to show you guys how I built this deck, and maybe that's how I should have started the series off with, just to show you how I build, what goes through my mind, and maybe that's where I'm messing up at. So what we have is a sealed pool. It's not a bad looking pool. I was pretty happy with it whenever I opened it, but this is what I do whenever I start to build a deck. Obviously all the colors are sorted out, and let's go through the white first and take a look at what we have. We have this. It's fairly good in the Celestia deck if we have the token producers to back it up with. I'm not a huge fan of this guy. The Vigilance is nice if we got a gate, but we've only got one gate that makes white mana. This guy's pretty good, lends itself to Celestia pretty well. This guy does too. Little bit of nice removal. I'm not a fan of the Pegasus, but it's a playable. I mean, it does hold off Tower Drakes and Rune Wings quite well. And Keening Apparition is a very solid body to have in the pool. So the white it looks shallow, but it's fairly playable. And when we look into the gold cards that are also white, we have a Centaur Healer, a Fall of the Gavel, which if I were going to be in blue-white I would play, just because it's nice to be able to counter any of their bonds. Necropolis Regent is not very much fun to play against. An overloaded Mizzium Mortars is not fun. And we've got Patrol, which I believe this white is fairly shallow. But let's take a look at the blue, which will make up the rest of the Azorius stuff. Downsize is okay. I'm not a fan of Fairy Imposter. There's not enough enters the battlefield effects for me to actually like playing with him. I have 3 Crosstown Couriers. Hooray. I think those guys are better in an Izzet build where you're going to have some removal to get these guys to punch through and mill, but I'm not big on those guys. We have a Steed. Isn't the worst thing. We have another piece of counter magic. Stealer's pretty okay. Doorkeeper's is a nice defender. Void Welder's good, and we have these 3 flyers in the 2 Predators and the Skywatch. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going over the colors, and I'm taking the cards that I would be happy to play with and putting them over here, and the cards that I'm unhappy to play with over here. We switch up to black. The Cremates are very good out of the sideboard against certain matchups that are heavy in Scavenge. Shrieking Affliction is never a card that I'm happy with. I like Swindler as a nice little bear. I like Imp a lot. He's really good in Golgari when you get to scavenge things. We've got some good removal in Stab Wound and Launch Party. Jailbreaker is good. I really like him, and we do have 2 gates that are Rakdos. Assassin Strike is another nice piece of removal, and Terrace Worm, I wouldn't play both of them. I would play one of them if I had to. At 7 mana, getting a 5/5, nothing I'm really too happy about, but the Scavenge ability, putting +5/+5 on another guy is actually really good. Bellows Lizard is another guy that I'm okay with, but not happy to play multiples of. Late game, he trades with a lot of things. Early game, he's not a bad drop. Dynacharge goes in a certain kind of deck that I don't think you're going to get often in sealed. The whole Trumpet Blast ability is good when you're when you're looking to deal a lot of damage fast, but that may not work out in the right sealed pool. Electricity is okay. I'm okay with it. Fury, nah. Now we have a bomb here in Mizium Mortars. It's pretty much a red Wrath of God, except it only gets the opponent's creatures out of play. So I'm very happy with that. Double Gutter Snipe, I'm okay with it. Makes our burn spells not only, well, our burn or removal spells not only mess with the opponent's creatures, but mess with the opponent as well. I like Splatter Thug a lot. I like Racketeer because he helps filter through your deck. Cobblebrute is great. Instinct is a lot better in draft than it is in sealed, but it's nice to be able to finish an opponent off with their own creature if need be, or your own creature if you want to give it +2/+0. Druid's Deliverance is a card that I don't like in the main, unless I have a lot of token producers, but it doesn't look like that is a thing in the sealed pool. Always happy to have Guardians that help with my mana. The Axeman Guardian is great in acceleration, and Gatekeeper Vine helps me find gates to turn on, Jailbreaker, and to fix my mana. These guys are great in a Golgari build. The lifelink ability is really good. Coruscamite fits better in Celestia when you have a bunch of creature when you're gonna have a bunch of creature tokens, but it's still a pretty good combat trick. Like Monitor, like Rhino, and again with the expensive stuff like Archreaver, I'm happy to play one, but I don't want to play both. The artifacts, Codex Shredder, I'm not really... I know games go slower in sealed, but I'm not exactly a huge fan of the Shredder. This is one of the best commons in the set. It's a pretty good flyer for 4 mana. Another piece of counter magic to deal with a bomb. This Guild Mage I really like a lot because it helps you draw out of floods and filters your hand for better stuff. The second ability I don't think I've ever used in a game of sealed, but could be pretty neat to double up on launch parties or double up on mortars, because for 6 mana you're taking out, or you're dealing 4 to 2 different things, or you're dealing 4 to a guy that's rather large. Izzet Charm is a nice versatile card. It's either counter magic or card drawing or piece of removal. I'm high on Cryptborn Horror, but I have a lot of friends that do not like this guy. Mainly, they say it's because when he comes into play, if he's anything bigger than a 5/5, then you're already winning, which I can see. Spawn's okay. These guys, however, are ridiculous and impact the battlefield even with the very threat of them being in your deck. Scorpion I'm happy with. Grizzly Salvage I would probably run one of. Treasure Finds, if I were really bomb heavy, I would run it. And there's the 2 copies of Abrupt Decay. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and take these, put them back in the card pool, because I don't think we're gonna be looking at them too hard. Let's sort these by color. And as we can see, the white is fairly shallow, the blue is fairly shallow, but only the only actual color blue. Like, we have really good blue-red stuff over here, and we have really good Rakdos stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the white, because I believe that is the worst color out of all 5 of them for us in this pool. We'll go ahead and get rid of this Guild Gate. And from where we're at now is, with the blue, we have the Dragon, the Guild Mage, the Charm, And I think the 3 or 4 best guys are over here. Stealer's okay if you need a lot of card draw, but I think with Charm and Guild Mage you're not going to really need it. So I think our best bet is to look at this deck as an Is-It deck. So let's take these down here. And we've got 17. And we also want this Frostborn weird. No, Is-It may not be the right way to go because of the double Guild Mage. So let's take a look at this as Rakdos first. And we're more than likely going to be splashing blue or green. As it stands right now, we have 22 cards in our build with 15 creatures. The green splash would give us double Abrupt Decay, double Sluiceway Scorpion, and the Mana Fixing and Guardian and Gatekeeper Vine. The creatures for green are the Archweaver, the Rhino, the Monitor. They're not really guys that I'm really excited about. So I think the green is actually much weaker than the blue. And since we have the Steam Vents and the Guild Gates, it would be a lot easier to facilitate a blue splash than it would be to run the green. So we'll take the green out. And looking at what is left over, it looks like the deck is shaping up fairly nicely. There's some stuff in the black-red that I'm not really comfortable playing, so I would cut the Electricity and the Worm. And the Cryptborn Horror, because he's not the greatest. I mean, like I said, if you play him early, he's a 2/2. If you play him late, he's a 5/5, and you're already winning. I would rather have Bounce and Flyers than I would these 3 spells. Is-It Charm makes it... We're up to 16 guys and 23 spells. Or 16 creatures and 23 cards overall. If we look at our spells, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that'll trigger Gatekeeper. Or not Gatekeeper, but Gutter Snipe. Which I think is a pretty fair number. Let's get this back by color. Frostborn Weird's going to make it in because he's a very, very solid guy to have in the deck. We've got a lot of 2-drops as it is in the deck now. I mean, although Mortars isn't really a 2-drop, it's more of a 6. I really want to fit in the Skyline Predators, but that may be a little too greedy. And I would like to fit in the Guild Mage. And even though Bellows Lizard does help out in the late game, I believe the Guild Mage is going to do better work for us. So we're up to 24 cards right now in the deck. I'd like to cut one more so I can get to 23 and 17. And I believe what I'd like to cut is one of the Gutter Snipes. Even though we do have the 6 spells that'll trigger them, I believe our creatures are good enough as it stands right now to just be fine with our regular dudes and not have to worry about doubling up on Gutter Snipe. So we'll start off here. We don't have any turn 1 plays. We do have a lot of turn 2 plays, which is why I'm going to leave the Promenade in the sideboard. We do have good mana in the lands here. And right now I'm going to go ahead and look at the stats of this deck, which is something I won't be able to do at Grand Prix Indianapolis, but Might as well take advantage of it now. We've got 1 7 drop, 2 6s, a 4. I don't think that's right. Because we've got more than 1 4 drop. Blue is the main color. Red is the second main color, and black is the third main color. So we'll go heavier on islands and mountains and less so on the swamps. The white mana that's showing up in here is... I don't know. Wait, we're over here. These guys are getting moved down here. Because I forgot that I'm looking at the sideboard, actually. And these are getting put up here. By color. Let's take a look at the stats now. And up here it shows us that the main colors are black-red with the blue splash. So we'll actually be heavier on black-red and lighter on the blue, since we have the guild mages, I think, or the guild gate and the vents. Let's go ahead and take a look at adding lands to this. We'll go ahead and suggest. And it is set up for a constructed deck. We're not going to run 7 islands, 11 swamps, and 15 mountains. That's just not going to happen. We'll look at 2 islands, 5 swamp, well, 4 swamps since there's one already over here, and 7 mountains. That's 12, 14. Let's go down to 6 mountains. Done. That puts us at 40 cards. We go back to converted mana cost. I'm actually pretty happy with this deck. Like I said earlier, this sealed pool ended up going 3-1 for me. But that was with these 3 cards in the main. They weren't that great, and I would be siding into the spawn, the Frostborn weird, because I'd never played with that guy before, and I thought he was just meh, and the Tavern Swindler. And that is it. I went 3-1, very happy with the deck. If you guys would have built it differently, let me know. I will have a list of the deck that we built through today up on the site whenever the article goes live. So thank you very much for listening to me ramble on about a sealed deck for a couple of minutes, and I hope that the insight that or my explanation for how I build could possibly help you all out in explaining to me why I'm so bad at this. Next week is the week of Grand Prix Indianapolis or the end of the world, whichever one you think is going to actually happen. Personally, I think it's going to be the Grand Prix. And what I'm going to try to do is every day do a quick build of a sealed deck that I have gotten. Since finals week is actually over tomorrow, I'm going to have a lot of free time to be able to sit down and do more sealeds again. So every day I'm going to try to have a sealed deck for you guys to look over, tell me where I went wrong, and hopefully by the time Saturday rolls around I'll have a better grasp on this. But thanks again for watching. Y'all have a good day, good weekend, have fun playing Magic, and I will take your insight and comments to heart as I try to get better at building sealed decks in this format. Thanks again.